And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza.
And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. You know, it's interesting. We were looking at the board this morning, and we were doing our normal diagnostic, and it looks like we got attacked by 67 different viruses. We've got a system here that actually picked that up and got rid of them all. But just to warn you all, you never know when it's going to come in or where it's going to come from. In any event, we're going to have a fantastic show for you today. We're going to talk about what's in the news, new legislation, the IRS loses, and then we'll continue our segment, the tribute to late great Paul Harvey, and the rest of the story. Today's story is going to be the launching of the Little Red Wagon. Now, you know what? Sometimes you think you might know what these stories are, but you don't have a clue, I can guarantee, unless you heard it before. And today I'm going to be talking about the pros and cons of joint accounts, and I'm going to answer your emails. And we do try to do that on Wednesdays. And then a little bit later on, our own Joel Salzman, Dr. Wireless, will be here. He'll be talking about new wireless technology and what's in the news, what's going on with those kinds of things. But right now, I want you to know that at 3:02 p.m. Pacific time, it is currently right at the high. It's 91 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on the way down to 61. You know, yesterday I mentioned that I thought we were finally rid of summer and into winter, but it looks like we still got another week or so of summer weather left, so we'll see what happens with that. Well, I want to tell you what's in the news. We've abbreviated it so we can get to the top 10 things so you can talk to your friends and neighbors and they'll know that you know what's going on in the news. And then right after that, we'll get into a little more in-depth stuff. Here's the 10 things that you need to know for Wednesday. Your daily look at late-breaking news, upcoming events, and the stories that are going to be talked about all day today and tomorrow, for that matter. First off, Obama tells Trump to stop whining. The president rebuked the Republican nominee, chiding the Republican nominee for sowing suspicion about the integrity of America's presidential vote. And witnesses back People writers' account of the Trump sex assault. People magazine reports that a half dozen people have come forward to corroborate its writer's account of being sexually assaulted by Donald Trump and its aftermath. And Obama says, arrivederci to state dinners. Some 400 guests join Italian Prime Minister Matteo Renzi and the Obamas for a sumptuous 4-course meal, making the final state dinner among the largest of Obama's presidency. And then finally, or not finally, but Ecuador says it temporarily restricted Assange's internet, the WikiLeaks founder's web access at its embassy in London after the whistleblowing site published documents from Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign. Well, where the Islamic State fighters are driven underground beneath a farming village east of Mosul that is getting shredded by airstrikes and artillery, Islamic State militants are operating in a networks of tunnels. Well, what Bob Dylan thinks of winning the Nobel? It's anybody's guess. The Nobel judges haven't made any contact with Dylan, and he hasn't mentioned the Literature Prize during his concerts since the announcement. You know, what the heck's wrong with this guy? What an honor. Well, how much polluted water the United States Air Force dumped? A base in Colorado says it accidentally released about 150,000 gallons of water containing toxic chemicals into the sewer system of the adjacent city of Colorado Springs. Well, Michigan Health Chief is target in the Flint criminal probe. The state's top health official is a focus in the probe of the water crisis in Flint, where information about elevated lead levels in children was allegedly suppressed. And there's no place like the Smithsonian. The Smithsonian's National Museum of American History has launched a crowdfunding campaign on Kickstarter to preserve the ruby slippers from the 1939 movie The Wizard of Oz. And then finally, who survived in baseball's playoffs? Well, the Toronto Blue Jays, who staved off elimination in the American League Championship Series, beating the Cleveland Indians 5-1. Well, you know what? We've been talking about it. Let's get into a little more in-depth stuff here. I'll give you a little more details about what's going on today in the news. Obviously, we're at the final showdown. Clinton and Trump are going to meet for the last debate. As the long and rancorous campaign lurches toward an end, Donald Trump gets one of his last opportunities today, or this evening, I should actually say, in the final debate against Hillary Clinton to turn around a race that appears to be slipping away. While Clinton's campaign is confidently expanding into traditionally Republican states, Trump's narrow electoral path is shrinking, already unpopular with a majority of Americans. The GOP nominee has been battered by recent revelations of his vulgar comments about women and a string of sexual assault allegations. Clinton's challenge in the last of 3 debates will be to both keep up her aggressive efforts to paint Trump as unfit to be president and start moving to ease America's deep divisions, which have only been exacerbated during the campaign. The later is no easy task for the Democratic nominee, given the public's persistent questions about her honesty and trustworthiness. Well, you know what I mean? Isn't it ironic that we have to vote for one of 2 people that 70% of the nation doesn't like? That is unbelievable. It just drives me a little bit batty. Well, you know what? Let's talk about mind games. Mind games are closing arguments in round 3 of the presidential debate. It was barely 3 weeks ago that Donald Trump opened the first presidential debate by asking with faux deference if it was okay to refer to his opponent as Secretary Clinton. By round 2, he was back to calling Hillary Clinton the devil. Since then, the Republican candidate's scorched earth campaign tactics have left all sides wondering just how low things will go in the third and final presidential debate coming up this evening. Hacked emails provide an unprecedented real-time look into the machinations of a presidential campaign. Hers, especially in the disclosed material, Clinton is shown taking positions in paid private speeches at odds with some of her public pronouncements. And she's revealed as resistant to advice by aides to apologize for her email practices and clear the air. That's all fodder for the debate. Well, Trump, never known for self-censorship, has pronounced himself unshackled at last in the final weeks of the campaign that has people wondering what Trump possibly has left to unleash. Well, you know what? It's going to be a battle. Normally I would have said I don't want to even bother watching this thing. But you don't want to miss it. This could be the best show on television tonight, I think, if you think about it. I don't know about the commentaries, but it'll be the best show. Iraqi town outside of Mosul rises up against its militants. The mutilated bodies of Islamic State group fighters were still strewn on the ground of this northern Iraqi town this evening, or today, I should say. One was burned, another face was flattened by abuse. Iraqi troops on the march toward Mosul moved into Al-Hud a day earlier and declared it liberated. But they found residents had already risen up and killed many of the militants in the town themselves. With the offensive to recapture Mosul in its third day, Iraqi forces advancing from the south and east are fighting to retake the town and villages that dot the plains and the line the Tigris River leading to the city. At times, they've met fierce resistance, with the militants sending explosives, packed vehicles careening toward the troops' positions. You know what? And it just goes on and on and on. At least, I guess you're just going to have to take that city one step at a time. That's the only thing you can really do. Anyway, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk about flesh-eating bacteria claim to vet's limbs, but not her drive. And I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Don't go away. We've got a lot of great show for you.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson & Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And we're talking news. You know what? A flesh-eating bacteria claimed a vet's limbs, but not her drive. A year ago, Cindy Martinez was struggling to walk even just a few feet and lift just 5 pounds. A flesh-eating bacteria had ravaged the 35-year-old Marine veteran's body. She had a grim choice: amputate both legs, an arm below the elbow, and parts of the fingers of her remaining arm, or face almost certain death. The amputation saved her life, and after months of hospitalizations and rehabilitation, she finally found herself back home, but alone during the day while her young children were in school and her husband was off to work. Well, it kind of takes a toll on you mentally, just sitting there after all that I had gone through, she said. In the stillness of her home, she fired off an email to a local gym and asked about joining. When they called back later that night, I told the lady on the phone, well, there's a twist to my story. She soon found herself sitting in a circle surrounded by trainers at CrossFit Goat with the motto, "Be your greatest of all time." In Dracula, about 45 miles northeast of Atlanta, she told them her story and began in February to embark on an unusual quest, becoming the CrossFit athlete. CrossFit gyms are known for high-intensity strength and cardio workout, and their members often consider their box to be like a family as they bond over workouts of the day and test their strength and resolve. Well, her coach, gym owner Amanda Griever, pledged to work with her and to find whatever way they could for her to do exercises that challenge even people with all of their limbs. She's come away in awe of how Martinez tackles each workout. She'll not be stopped no matter what, Griever said. If something doesn't work, there's nothing getting There's no getting frustrated. We adapt and move on to something else. She always positive. Martinez has worked up to deadlifting 95 pounds, nearly her weight, and squatting 65 pounds. She needs to use her abdominal muscles to ensure that she remains balanced. The fingers on her remaining full arm have varying degrees of amputation, which makes it difficult to grip a barbell or dumbbell. Part of the latissimus dorsi muscles on the left side of her back, the area where the infection first sprouted, were removed. But she and Griever constantly find ways to adapt. When she's performing squats with the barbell behind her, she uses a strap to connect the arm that was amputated just below the elbow to her bar. When using dumbbells to do chest passes or presses, she uses the strap to attach the weight to her hand and arm to allow her to lift it without needing a tight grip. When she's performing body rows, she attaches a strap with a hook on the end of it so that she can grab the rings, dip back, then pull herself back up. Martinez is often surprised by the attention that she gets and how others see her as inspirational. I'm just doing it. I want it, not the other people don't want it. She says, I don't want to know how to explain the speed that I've done it with. The gym and its members have rallied around her. At one point, Griever created a workout for members so that they would have a greater understanding of the challenges Martinez faces and help raise money to pay for a recumbent bike. Well, during the workout, athletes were allowed to use only one arm. One-armed push-ups, one-armed kettlebell swings, one-armed farmer carries. Literally everybody who came in from doing that came straight up to me and said, "Look at my arm. Wow, that was so difficult." You really see how hard her workouts are, Griever recalled. Martinez worked her way up to walking farther and recently got a new pair of prosthetic legs that will allow her to run. She's getting used to the new legs, which she says feels like she's wearing high heels on a trampoline. But one day, they'll allow her to run around with her young children or perhaps even a road race. For now, she's getting her sights on this month's Marine Corps Marathon in Washington, D.C., which she will race on her recumbent bike. Well, the mental aspect, it can be tough. It's not that I don't have a bad day, she said, but for the most part, I try to stay positive, and I think staying active is a good way to do. I don't want to say get your mind off of it, because it's not like I can get my mind off of it, but I've got to work with what I've got. I'm here for my kids, my husband, and I want them to see that I can still do things with them. Wow. Can you even imagine it? I can't. You know what, Cindy Martinez? You are a hero. You are really something special. Well, modest gains seen for Obama's last healthcare sign-up season. Facing new challenges to a legacy law, the Obama administration today set modest expectations for the president's final healthcare sign-up season. The biggest worry, rising premiums and dwindling choices. Some 13.8 million people are expected to sign up for 2017 coverage. Health and Human Services Secretary Sylvia Burwell said that would be an increase of a bit less than 9% from the 12.7 million who picked plans during the open enrollment for this year. This year is shaping up to be the most difficult sign-up season since healthcare.gov launched in 2013, and the computer system froze up. But technology isn't the issue this time. Premiums are going up by double digits in many communities, and some major insurers have left the program, leaving consumers with fewer choices next year. Well, you know what? It's a shame, but that's just the way it goes. No one's to blame, but somebody's got to get a handle on the costs of medical care, and that's going to be it. Now, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the IRS losers. The first case is a minimal discrepancy does not justify the refusal of an installment agreement. I'll tell you all about it right after these brief messages. Don't go away, folks. We'll be right back.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with the interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:23 p.m. Pacific time, currently 91 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Now it's staying down from 92 degrees on its way to 63 degrees as a low. But if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in New York City, well, it's 79 degrees and it's clear. And if you're in Chicago, Illinois, it's 65 degrees and it's mostly cloudy. But right now, what I want to do is put a smile on your face, put the hair up on the back of your neck, and send shivers up and down your spine. We're going to talk about the IRS loses. You know, the first case, minimal discrepancy does not justify the refusal of an installment agreement. Well, you know, Omar Pineda owned a small business and fell behind on his taxes. When the IRS moved a levy on his assets, he requested an installment agreement. An IRS appeals officer required him to file a full statement of business and personal finances to prove that he was compliant with the law and eligible for one. then found a $175 discrepancy between this accounting and Pineda's tax return, and rejected the agreement. So Pineda went to the tax court, and this is what the judge actually said. The $175 was de minimis. That just means minimal, folks. And at trial, the appeals officer couldn't even say what information he wanted to fix the error. So the IRS had abused its discretion in not considering the agreement, and it was absolutely ordered and allowed. Doesn't that just make you feel good? Yeah, got to. How about this? The IRS loses. Hiring a spouse makes medical costs tax-free. Now, this is really good if you're self-employed. Maureen Speltz operated a licensed daycare center in her home as a proprietorship. Now, her husband, Peter, worked full-time as a machinist from 6 a.m. to 2:15 p.m. Then he came home and assisted her in the center. She hired him as an employee, giving him an employment contract that included medical benefits, and she deducted the benefits that she paid to him and took them tax-free. But the IRS objected that the arrangement was a sham. She went to court. This is what the judge said. Maureen had a real business. The employment contract terms were actually reasonable. Peter lived up to them, doing real work that was documented, and the benefit plan met written requirements. So the tax-free benefits were proper. And just so not only does she get a deduction for the medical benefits, but it lowers her self-employment tax too. So that winds up doubling the deduction. That's quite a deal. How about this? The IRS loses. An erroneous private ruling can absolutely be relied upon. In 1981, a company obtained IRS approval of its method of computing deductible contributions to its qualified retirement plan in an IRS technical advice memorandum. But in 1996 and 1997, court cases involving other companies held the method to be illegal. Now, in 2005, IRS examiners asked if the company's deductions taken after the date of the court rulings could be disallowed. Here's the IRS holding. The cases involved other taxpayers and were appealable. The specific IRS approval obtained by the company of its actions protects all of its deductions claimed until the approval is revoked, which it is now, by the way, on an ongoing forward basis. But it gets those deductions that they were entitled to. Now, you've heard me talking about being a fly on the wall when the IRS does stuff. That's where we're at right now with this segment that we call Inside the IRS. It's very much like the Twilight Zone. You know what? These are not tax court cases, but these are things that if you know about them, you can actually do some serious tax planning and defense planning if you know what's going on. First off, let's talk about the fact that there's a refund opportunity sitting out there. There's an amended return opportunity to get a refund of tax on awards for damages for personal non-physical injury. Now, a recent decision in the United States Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit held that damages received for emotional distress and injury to personal reputation are not subject to income tax, and that one of the sections of the IRS tax code which makes these damages taxable is unconstitutional. Money damages received for loss of earnings or punitive damages are still taxable, but you need to be careful here. The IRS is expected to appeal this case, but amended tax returns should be filed to protect your right to receive a refund. So you want to make sure that you know all about that. Let me give you one more here. Don't be seduced by the IRS's last chance amnesty offer on offshore bank account claims. The IRS is promoting a settlement program for individuals who maintain offshore bank accounts that they have not reported on their tax returns. If you respond positively within 15 days of its offer, you must give the IRS access to every piece of information that it's seeking. In return, they'll not prosecute you for a tax crime. But you need to be careful here. The revenue agent may only know that you maintain an offshore bank account. He or she may not know when the money was deposited into the account or the source of that money. So here's a strategy for you. Don't respond to any questions until you've met with a knowledgeable certified tax attorney. That's what you want to do. Well, you know what? We've got time for one more. Let me give it to you. What special agents want to know when they contact your preparer? One of the most important witnesses in a criminal case against you is the person who actually prepared your tax return. The preparer generally has in his or her possession work paper files that contain originals or copies of financial documents and handwritten notes. The special agents will summons these to obtain evidence of criminal conduct, looking for proof or intent to evade the payment of tax by underreporting income or hiding assets. So advice for tax preparers? Before you agreeing to talk to a special agent, ask for a summons for the requested information. If the IRS issues a summons, review it with your attorney before making any statement to the IRS. You want to be sure that you have not been complicit in your client's wrongdoing, assuming your client actually had any wrongdoing, which is unlikely. Now, don't go away. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the pros and cons of joint accounts. So, don't go away. We'll be right back with that. You know what? Absolutely. We'll be right back.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Leinberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson & Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And at 3:34 p.m. Pacific time, well, it's still 91 degrees out here, so I don't know that that's such a big deal. But if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in Paris, France, well, it's 48 degrees and it's clear. And if you're in Rome, Italy, it's 63 degrees and it's partly cloudy. But right now, I want to talk to you about the pros and cons of joint accounts. Whoa, yeah, that's probably the effect you could probably have it sometimes. You may be tempted to name a spouse or other younger relative as a joint owner of your bank, brokerage, or mutual fund accounts. That person will be able to handle the account if you're incapacitated. Now, typically, the accounts will be titled joint tenants with right of survivorship. When one co-owner dies, the survivor inherits. Now, you got to be careful here. Although setting up this type of a joint account is convenient and inexpensive, problems may result, especially because of the joint ownership that you name will inherit the account no matter what it says in your will. Now, an over-reliance on joint ownership may rob you of flexibility and result in the payment of unnecessary tax, and I'm going to explain that to you now. Here's some advantages. In small doses, joint ownership can be really useful. Here's an example. If you reach a point where you no longer can manage your own finances, your co-owner can easily tap a jointly owned checking account and see that your bills are paid. In addition, joint ownership might make sense when you're certain that there is only one person you would want to inherit the financial account. At one owner's death, assets held as joint tenants with right of survivorship will be transferred to the co-owner without a delay and expensive probate. There is no probate. It transfers by action of law, and it happens immediately. Well, how about estate equality? To see a disadvantage of joint ownership, consider this scenario where unnecessary estate tax is paid. Let's just say John Smith dies in 2008 when the federal estate tax exemption is $2 million. Now, all of his assets are held jointly with his wife, Marge, so she inherits everything. Marge dies later in the year with a $5 million estate. Now, her estate's worth $3 million over the exemption. So, at a 45% estate tax rate, $1.35 million is going to be owed to the IRS. So here's a trap, though. Because John's assets were held jointly, he had no assets to pass into the credit shelter trust, one structure to use that the federal estate tax break. So his estate tax exemption was wasted. The IRS collected an extra, get this, $900,000 in estate tax. There's a better way. John could have left $2 million in a trust that would benefit Marge and then pass tax-free to their son Bob at Marge's death. The trust would avoid estate tax because of John's $2 million estate tax exemption. Then Marge could have left Bob $3 million, of which $2 million would be sheltered by her estate tax exemption. Now, this would have generated only $450,000 in federal estate tax, 45% of that $1 million, not 45% of $1.35 million. So here's a strategy for you. If estate tax is a concern, be sure that both spouses have assets subject to probate, excuse me, such as bank or brokerage accounts that they can leave to a credit shelter trust. Now, gee whiz, can't clear my throat. Now, this will help ensure that they take full advantage of their collective estate tax exemption, the $4 million in 2008, $7 million in 2009, and then it goes back to 3. However, here's a step up to your tax savings. As we've talked about before, excess use of joint ownership by married couples can lead to problems. The same may be true for joint ownership of a non-spouse. Now, the co-owner will inherit while would-be heirs will be shut out. So a strategy? Instead of a joint account, use a power of attorney or a trust to enable someone to handle your finances in case you become incapacitated. This won't interfere with your plans or distribute your assets. When would naming a non-spouse as a co-owner make sense? Well, if you trust that person absolutely and you want him or her to inherit that account, then it makes sense. Advantage here? Naming a non-spouse as joint owner is a simple, cost-effective way to provide for possible incapacity. And what's more, a valuable tax break will not be lost. So here's the example. Jane Jones has $400,000 worth of securities. Her basis or her cost is $100,000. If Jane dies as sole owner and leaves her portion to her daughter Alice in her will, Alice will inherit the securities with a stepped-up basis, and then after Jane's death, Alice can sell the inherited securities and owe no capital gains tax on all of the appreciation. Now, take note that this appreciation may be subject to estate tax. Now, suppose that Jane has named Alice as co-owner of the account. That stepped-up basis is going to be lost. There is none. If two co-owners are not married to each other, the estate of the first owner to die will include a share of the property basis or based on the portion of the original purchase price furnished by the decedent. Well, in my example, Jane had acquired all the securities before adding Alice to the account as joint owner. So, 100% of the securities will be included in Jane's estate, and Alice will inherit with a full basis step-up to market value, even though she had been named co-owner of the account. So, here's the spousal treatment. What if, in the example that I gave, Jane had instead named her husband Dan joint owner of her brokerage account? At Jane's death, all of the assets in the account would have gone to Dan, but he would have received only half of the basis step-up. So let me give you an example. Assume Jane dies when the securities are worth $400,000. Only Jane's half of the account, $200,000, gets a stepped-up basis. Therefore, Dan's basis in the inherited assets would be $200,000, a basis step-up for Jane's half, plus $50,000, Dan's half of the original $100,000 basis. Now, there are some exceptions. Generally, in community property states such as California, Nevada, and Texas, Dan would get a full basis step-up. Also, joint tenancies created before 1977 by Jane get a full step-up for Dan. So here's a strategy for you. Learn the laws of your state. Assuming the basis step-up will be 50% and not 100%, it might make sense to hold highly appreciated assets in one name so that the surviving spouse can inherit the full stepped-up basis. It's tax-free. So how about gift tax trouble? You know what? Using joint ownership can lead to a gift tax trap. Let me give you an example. Let's just use Jane Jones again, and she's named her daughter Alice co-owner of her brokerage account, as we had done before. Now, Alice then withdraws cash or securities from this joint account. Such a withdrawal may be treated as a taxable gift. If so, gift tax returns may have to be filed and gift tax might have to be paid. So, what's acceptable? Alice can withdraw assets to pay for her mother's expenses that will not trigger tax consequences. What's not acceptable? If Alice uses the withdrawn assets for any other purpose besides Jane's expenses, the withdrawal will be treated as a gift from Jane to Alice. If such gifts this year top $13,000, a gift tax return will have to be filed. Once Jane has made a total of $1 or $2 million worth of taxable gifts to Alice and other recipients, gift tax will have to be paid on all the additional gifts that are made. So here's a strategy for you. If the co-owner named someone else's account withdraws assets, document the fact that the assets were used on behalf of the original owner. A diary and cancel checks can serve as that ample proof. And that's exactly what you have to do. Do not fall into a trap where you wind up paying unnecessary taxes. Now, I want to remind you that coming up later in the show, we're going to be doing a tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. And today's story is going to be the launching of the Little Red Wagon. These stories always have a twist, and you're going to want to know all about those. And then after this segment, when we come back from our commercial break, I'm going to actually answer your emails. And we've got 4 what I think really good emails for you today. And so you're not going to want to miss any one of those. And then after we do that, we'll be with our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Salzman, and Joel will be talking about wireless technology advancements and what's in the news with that kind of stuff. In any event, we're going to take you know what I wanted to remind you about too? Get our app. It's absolutely free. Go to your app store, search Robert Cardoza Live, download the app. I constantly get requests for people they want us to send them one show or another show. Truth is if you have our app, you can have all the shows. They're right there for you. Or if you have Spreaker or Podomatic or iHeart, or YouTube, they're all right there. You can get them. But if you have our app, you can also do what do they call that? Live texting or chat room with us while we're doing our show. If we're live, you can listen to us live. If not, you can listen to any of our shows 24/7 anytime you want. And again, it's absolutely free. We want you to tell all your friends about our show and that app as well. You know what? They will be glad you did. You'll be glad you did because they'll be glad, and I'll be glad you did out of tremendous appreciation. Now, do not go away because when we come back, I'm going to be answering your emails. And the first email I'm going to answer is all about shared home office space. I was asked that by Alyssa Torres. We'll tell you all about it in just a couple minutes.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39. A complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:49 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 91 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 62 degrees. And if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in London, England, well, it's 52 degrees and it's partly cloudy. And if you're in Vienna, Austria, it's 48 degrees and hey, get your umbrella. It's raining over there. But right now, I'm going to answer your emails. And my first email comes from Alyssa Torres from Buffalo Grove, Illinois. She's asking about shared home office expense, or space, I should say. She says, what was that guy? Oh, no. I'm sorry. It was Aaron Torres. Anyway, he says, can my wife and I both claim home of office on our tax return? If so, can we claim the same shared space as our office? Well, here's the deal, Aaron. If you each meet the requirements to deduct a home office, you each can do so. And you can share the office space, such as a room in your home, that is used exclusively for business. Of course, you can't each deduct the full cost of that space, or you'd be getting a double deduction. The government's not going to allow that. So you should separate the deductions and use a portion of the space in proportion to how you actually use it. Now, generally, a home office must be the principal place that you conduct your business or be needed for administrative or management activities because you have no office where you conduct the business, such as a doctor at a hospital, right? Now, if you need more details on this, go to IRS Publication 587. It's business use of your home. But the easiest way to allocate it is you take your gross revenue and add it to your wife's gross revenue. Then you figure out what percentage your gross revenue is to the total. You take that percentage of all of the deductions, and then the balance would go to your wife. The IRS will never dispute that. They'll accept that every time. So, you know what? That's really what you want to do. And then if you have an issue about how you actually figure what's deductible and what's not, well, that's going to be available to you in that IRS Publication 587. Well, next email comes from Aaron Valencia from Wall, New Jersey, asking about solo 401ks and says, business proprietors don't take salaries, but they can have a 401k plan. How does this work? Well, you know what? For employees, a 401k contributions are a portion of salary because that is all the business income that they actually receive. For a business proprietor who takes no salary but reports all of his business's income on Schedule C of his personal tax return, the solo 401k contribution limit is equal to the first $15,500 of self-employment income plus another $5,000 added to this amount for persons age 50 and older plus 20% of all the self-employment income. Now, this total may not exceed $45,000 or $50,000 if you're older than age 50. So let me give you an example here. Let's just say that you are older than 50 and you have $80,000 of proprietorship income. Your maximum contribution is going to be $36,500. That's that first $15,500 plus the $5,000 plus the 20% of the $80,000, which is another $16,000. And that's where we got that. So it's an easy calculation. Next email comes from Johnny Valia from Kells, Michigan, asking about franchise fee deductions. It says franchise fees must be deducted over 15 years, but suppose one paid a franchise fee to open a business that went broke in 1 year. Can you get a faster deduction? Well, you know what, Johnny, the answer to your question is when a business asset loses all of its value, its tax basis becomes deductible. So if you purchase a business franchise and its value soon after drops to zero, you can claim a loss deduction for the previously undeducted amount of your franchise fee in the year that the loss occurred. There are some special rules, such as those for franchise fees. So apply to deducting the cost of tangible assets. So consult a tax professional. It's going to really be important to you. You get a really knowledgeable tax professional to handle this for you. And my last email comes from Dublin Wilkerson, and Dublin's writing me from Ben Hur, California, about mortgage defaults, and says, one person made a loan to another as a second mortgage secured by a borrower's home. The borrower defaulted, but also defaulted on his first mortgage. The home went to the bank, and to the maker of the second loan got nothing. Can he deduct this loss? Well, you know what, Dublin? An individual taxpayer who makes a loan like this that goes unpaid becomes entitled to claim a bad debt deduction. However, unless the individual's in the business of making loans, the deduction is a capital loss rather than a business loss, and the deduction for capital losses is going to be limited. Capital losses are deductible against capital gains, with a net capital loss of up to $3,000 being deductible against ordinary income each year. Any excess net capital loss over this amount is going to be carried forward to future years, and so you won't really have a big issue going on there. It's not going to be, like it's going to be a big issue for the IRS or anybody else. So just know that you can get these things. But you know what? We talk about it all the time, the value of using a licensed professional. You know what? When you're dealing with these kinds of things, if you use a licensed professional, they're generally always going to save you more money than they cost you. That's because they're trained and they know what's going on. They know all the people involved and all the things that are going. They're going to matter of fact, they'll generally save you more money than they cost you. And that's something to consider. You don't want to go out and do some of these things on your own. And I'll tell you what, as much as I castigate the Internal Revenue Service, they are not stupid. They're well trained, and their job is to collect taxes. And unfortunately, sometimes whether you owe it or not, their job is to collect taxes. And that's exactly what they do. So, if you think that you're going to get by representing yourself and before the IRS, think again, because the truth is the IRS agents have no obligation to tell you the truth. The truth is they may just say, I'm going to disallow that, I'm disallowing that, and I'm disallowing that. You won't even know why they're disallowing it. And they may not even be entitled to disallow it. But that's exactly what will happen. And if you don't know what you're entitled to, you lose. That's why it's always, always, always more profitable for you to use a licensed professional to represent you than to try and represent yourself. You know what they say about a lawyer that represents himself? He's got a fool for a lawyer. Same thing for yourself. If you're a taxpayer and you try to represent yourself, you got a fool for representative. Don't do it. These people are not as dumb as you may think. They're well trained. Now, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to be a little bit early, but we're going to be with our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman. Usually when I see him come on board and is a little bit extra, it means I have to speak a little bit less. I look forward to that sometimes, because while he's talking, I'm drinking ice water, and I'm thinking about the waves that he could be on right now, because where he's at, it's 85 degrees and clear in Torrance, California. And you know what? Who wouldn't want to be in that? You know what? Makes you wonder why anybody would live in any other state or any other place than Southern California. That is an absolute fact. Now, don't go away. We're going to be right back with our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman, after these brief messages. We'll be right back, folks. I know we got a lot of great information for you. He never fails me.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the Street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 91 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. If you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in London, England, well, it's 52 degrees and cloudy. And if you're in Vienna, Austria, it's 48 degrees, and get your umbrella out because it's raining. But I'll tell you where it's not raining. Not raining on the head of our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman. Hey, Joel, you're on the line, buddy.
How are you, Robert? It is beautiful out here today. That's no lie.
Oh, man, I got to tell you, you look outside. I mean, the sky is clear and blue and fresh. The air is wonderful. Why would you want to live anywhere else?
Well, that's true, although you could probably bake a potato out your way.
Well, you know what? Yeah, it is. You know what? It's interesting, Joel. Yesterday didn't get above 74, and the day before it actually rained. Today is 91. We thought we were finally done with the summer, but it looks like we got about 4 or 5 more days of summer left over here.
That's what they're saying. What can you do? Yeah. We have some amazing stuff today, Robert. Never ceases to amaze. There's all kinds of crazy things going on. We're going to talk about why you may not want to buy an iPhone 7 32 gig model. We'll get into that later. We're going to talk about T-Mobile, who just got fined millions for selling unlimited data plans that, guess what? They weren't really unlimited.
Oh.
AT&T got hit with that not too long ago. They just got Apple for it. We're going to talk about Apple being listed as an exhibitor at the Mobile World Congress. What's unusual about that is Apple doesn't exhibit anywhere. They don't even exhibit at Macworld. So this is kind of surprising. All kinds of stuff going on.
Well, it
never ends.
You know what's interesting, Joel? I was looking at the news, and it looks like there's a big deal about Wells Fargo Bank now is under investigation because of these phony accounts that they were doing, and it makes you wonder about when you're talking about T-Mobile having these unlimited plans that are really not unlimited plans. Isn't there some point where they're going to be actually prosecuted rather than fined?
Well, no, I doubt that. The FCC's happy to fine them, and it actually is a kind of a good thing. And the reason I say that is there's going to be thousands of school kids who benefit from this. So, and I'll explain, how that's going to happen.
Okay.
Basically, in a nutshell, what happened is what AT&T did, and that is they didn't disclose that these plans truly aren't unlimited. T-Mobile's always sold these plans as unlimited, but you read the fine print and it gets down there that they say if the network, needs to optimize itself, they reserve the right to throttle. And what they're doing is they're targeting 3% of their users who may watch Netflix every evening. They can tell who the users and abusers are. And if you offer unlimited data, you really should provide it or disclose you're not providing it. But what T-Mobile was doing is once you got to a certain level, they would throttle you, even though they're supposed to give you the unlimited 4G. So you were not prioritized. And the FCC looks down on that. John Legere said the deal with the government was a good settlement. And and what's going to happen under the terms of the agreement, T-Mobile is going to have to provide at least $5 million of free tablets or other devices to children in low-income school districts.
Oh, that's pretty good.
And they also have to give free mobile data for their schools and families for 4 years. And they're talking about as many as 80,000 kids.
Wow.
They expect to benefit from this program. So I think the FCC does a good thing. To me, is it the end of the world?
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
if you use 23 gigabytes of data, and then they slow you down, well, you're supposed to have unlimited data. AT&T did it a little bit differently.
But they just slow you down. They don't eliminate it. And I'm wondering how many people actually noticed, or was it the government that actually found out about it?
Well, nobody eliminates it. What happens is they say they're going to give you unlimited 4G, and then what they do is they slow you down
to a 3G.
So, actually to 2G, if who's counting. So, in other words, you're still able to get email, you're still able to go to social networks, but you're not able to stream video. And that's what is really putting a hit on the network. So, they shouldn't advertise unlimited if it's not going to be unlimited. But the fact of the matter is anybody who is reaching those levels of 23, 24 gigabytes a month is using a heck of a lot of data. And if everybody did that, it would render the network useless. So I have mixed feelings about it, but I think in the long run, it's great that kids are going to benefit from a stupid mistake T-Mobile made.
Yeah, but you know what? If they can't produce what they're offering, they shouldn't be offering it.
You shouldn't advertise something that you're not planning on providing.
Yeah.
So I agree. So anyhow, I mean, that's a drop in the bucket for T-Mobile, and I think ultimately it's a good thing for these low-income communities and these kids. So, and T-Mobile got slapped on the wrist, so they know not to do that again.
Isn't it interesting that you call it a slap on the wrist?
That's all it is.
Yeah, because they're not even going to feel it. It's
I mean, the president's happy about this deal. I mean, I wish he'd give me a few $1 million and be happy about it.
Yeah.
So, anyhow, we got. Have you ever heard of Google Apps for Work?
Yeah.
All right.
I've heard of Google. I've heard of Google Apps anyway, and I got a text from them asking about the Google Apps for Work.
Well, it's now going to be called Google's G Suite.
Google's what?
A whole new name and some nifty updates were launched today. We have that on our Facebook/DR Wireless page. In fact, everything we talk about today is already up on our Facebook/DR Wireless page. We're going to talk about all kinds of interesting stuff. We're going to talk about a big problem Amazon's having right now. They're selling counterfeit accessories that are claiming to be OEM, original equipment manufactured Apple products, which are not. And you probably heard about a phone catching fire recently, an iPhone.
Yeah.
You can't, but I don't know that was the case, but it certainly could be. There's a company called MobileStar, which makes products that sometimes they claim are real Apple products, and they're not. They're not made to the same specifications. They're made cheaper to be sold for less. So your users need to be careful, and I'm an Amazon Prime member. I buy off Amazon all the time. I love them. They protect me pretty much, but you can't sell product as original, which isn't original. And I don't know that they're condoning it, but I know that Apple is very angry.
Oh yeah, I would think so, but I can't imagine that Amazon is doing that. No, I would hate to think that they're doing it knowingly. I'm guessing that they got scammed too.
They may have. I'm pretty sure. What else we have? We have a company called LeEco. LECO. Mm-hmm. They're announcing an 85-inch 4K TV in the U.S.
Wow.
What's interesting about them is they're making some killer smartphones. It's amazing right now what's happening. We've talked about this in the past, but in China and South Korea, they are bringing out new phones, Android format, that rival the Samsung S7s and rival the iPhone 6S Plus. 7,
well, to rival the Samsung S7, all they got to do is hope it doesn't catch fire.
The Note 7.
Yeah.
The Note 7.
Yeah.
That one we don't want to rival.
Yeah.
But no, that one we don't want to rival. But the other models typically will go for almost $1,000, and there's quite a few brands now: Huawei, ZTE, OnePlus, LeEco. These companies are out of China. There's a few out of South Korea, like LG, and a few others that are making wonderful products that have, in some cases, faster processors than even Apple offers. And they're a fraction of the price. They will go anywhere from $150 to top out at maybe $399, and these things will spec out like a $900 iPhone or a F7 Samsung Galaxy. So the one good thing about, and we always talk about Android versus Apple, and my feeling is I prefer Apple.
Yeah.
But one of the things that's admirable in terms of the Android platform is it is possible to buy a very, very high-end 5.5, 6-inch screen phone for a fraction of what an iPhone's going to cost. So for budget-conscious people, it's certainly worth noting.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And the other thing that I wanted to mention is this. There's been some... There's a new app. I almost forgot this. And I've done this many times. You ever go to a mall or a concert or somewhere and you forgot where you parked your car?
Well, you know what? I'm old, Joel. That happens to me more often than I'd want to admit.
Yeah, me too. And what my solution until recently is I'd use the camera and I would take a picture. If I'm in a shopping mall, I'm on, level 4 or whatever. Mm-hmm. I would take a picture of the level 4.
Yeah.
And then hopefully I'm going to, at least I know where I need to go. I have no idea where level 4 is or how to get to it, but at least I know that's where my car is.
That's a good idea. I'm going to start doing that,
I have
Joel.
a better idea.
Okay.
Better idea. And go, and I know you'll do this probably while we're talking, but on your iPhone, there's a free feature designed to find your car using iOS 10.
Oh, really?
And it's fantastic. All it requires is that you have a Bluetooth stereo in your car or CarPlay. I have both. Mm-hmm. And once you set up the feature, you're ready to go. And what happens is it uses Google Maps. It uses, I don't know if it's Apple Maps or Google Maps, but what it does is it will allow you to find your car. And what you do is you go under Settings, and then you go under Maps, and then you go under, I'm trying to recall what the next setting was. I think it was Maps, Settings, and then Park Car. And you want to enable the feature. And what happens is you can now use GPS to find your car, and it will find it exactly. It'll put a big blue, dot, with a picture of a car where your car is parked. So you're able to pinpoint the exact location of your car.
That's slick.
So, and if you ask for directions, Maps automatically gives you walking directions to get to your vehicle.
They used to have an app.
And it's free.
Yeah, they used to have an app years ago, but you had to pay for it, and I think it was called Car Finder. And the only problem with it was not always that accurate. Sometimes, you had to push the button when you're at where your car is at, and then it would just kind of follow you like a run kind of deal. But a lot of times you'd try to find your car, and it would take you to a different car. That was a problem.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing that I wanted to mention also before I forget, the other thing we have posted on our Facebook page is 9 paid iPhone apps that are on sale or for free today.
Oh, really?
And Apple does this periodically. And, these things, as long as it says get it. It's free. If there's a price on these, don't get them. This only usually lasts a day, a week. It's a short-term thing. I took down a couple of these today, but there's one called Task Gradation. There's a couple of neat ones. The one that I downloaded that I think I'm going to be able to use was a music one. It was called. I'm looking for it right now. Looking for the icon. Let's see here.
Well, while you're looking for that, one of the
called iMusic.
Yeah. Oh, iMusic. Gotcha.
And what's cool about it is it's free music, and you can download it in the iStore, and there's a bunch of them. So the trick is, I'm just looking for the guy's name so you can know which one. Let's see here. What did I do with this? I hate when that happens. Well, I misplaced it, so maybe we'll go back to that. The trick, or you can go to my Facebook /DR Wireless. It's called iMusic Free. But when you go there, there's a bunch of them. So you want to grab the right one. It's normally $1.99. It's free. It's 100% millions of free music, no limits, no subscriptions.
Wow.
Download and experience it now. So why not?
No, is it unlimited, or is there a timing on this thing? You get to use it free for the next 30 days, 60 days?
Well, once you sign up, you got it. Once you sign up for the app, you got it. They'll start charging again. It's not a monthly charge. It's a one-time charge. If you grab it now,
gotcha.
You're good to go.
Gotcha.
There's also a good one called Fake Browser that's interesting, and this is great for people. Not that we would do this, but let's say you're browsing, an adult website, and your wife or spouse or coworker or roommate or your mom walks into the room. You don't need to panic. You just hit the home button, and pressing home wipes the page clean. It even wipes the multitasking screen out, cleans it out. So, it's not like, these other browsers that store this stuff forever.
Yeah.
So, I'm sure somebody will find value with that. And let's see, what else do we have that's of interest? I'm going to save that iPhone thing for later. That's the hook.
Yeah, I'm going to. I'm actually,
7. Why you may not want to get an iPhone 7, what Apple isn't telling anybody.
Oh.
So it's just something that they're not saying.
Hey, listen, why is Apple sending out intermittent tips? Why don't they just send them all out at one time?
Well, I don't know. That's a very good question.
I mean, they don't charge you for them. They just send them out to you. Here's 5 more tips or 10 more tips, and they just send it to you in an email. And I'm just wondering, why don't they just send it all to you at one time?
That's a good question. Because probably people would be overwhelmed. Anyhow, here's something that I find very valuable. So many times people tell me they dropped their phone in the toilet, in the sink, lost, stolen. And the first question I ask them is, you probably can guess, did you back it up?
Your phone?
And
you mean the cloud?
Yeah. Yeah. And when I hear that, when I hear, what's that? I go, uh-oh. So most people don't know about backing up. Some do. But what I recommend, there's something that you can do called an automatic backup.
Mm-hmm.
So you can set your iPhone, you can set your iPads to automatically do iCloud backups. And if you set it to do this automatically, guess what? It's something you don't need to worry about.
Right.
So everybody knows how important it is to have a clean, fresh backup.
Now, do you do that in
if your
settings?
device gets lost.
Do you do that?
I'm sorry?
Do you do that in settings?
Yes, and I have that on our Facebook/DR Wireless page.
Mm-hmm.
So anybody who wants to know how to do this can go to Facebook/DR Wireless, and you will see, back it up or you'll be sorry. Here's easy instructions on how to back up iPhones and iPads automatically with the cloud.
Hey, so Joel, give out some
information. I recommend it.
Give out some contact information so we can go to a commercial, and then we'll come back for some more.
All right. Everything we're talking about, as I mentioned today, will be found at Facebook/DR Wireless. We also have this stuff on our website, which is www.drwireless.com. And anybody with questions can contact me at joel@drwireless.com.
And we're going to take a short break. We're going to be right back with Dr. Wireless Joel Saltzman with just an unlimited amount of information. You know, I doubt very much that he gives us even a minuscule amount of what he has to offer. He just sort of saves it for week after week after week, which is one of the things that makes his segment so very interesting. So don't go away. We're going to get more tidbits from Dr. Wireless right after these brief messages.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking to our own Joel Salzman, Dr. Wireless. He's got more information than what you can absorb. But I'll tell you what, he just told us about something that was tremendously important, and that was backing up your iPhone and your iPad. I've had many times when I was in business where I was guilty of not backing up sometimes. But that only has to happen to you once, and you have to recreate all that stuff. You will be sorry. If you have the technology available and the opportunity to have that happen automatically, shame on you if you don't do it. Don't you agree with that, Joel?
Automatic is great. You don't have to think about it. It happens automatically. And trust me, when the time comes where you leave that smartphone in a taxi cab, you're deep sea fishing, it falls in the water, whatever happens, it's great to know that all the content on that phone is in the iCloud. You buy the new phone, you put your Apple ID, your password, and boom, 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 there's your ringtone, there's your screensavers, there's your content, there's your lock screen. Everything comes back just like it's your old phone.
Boy, it doesn't get any better than that.
Speaking of iPhones, the 32 gigabyte iPhone 7. Do not buy an iPhone 7 32 gigabyte without listening to what I'm going to say. Is there anything wrong with this phone? No. But what Apple didn't tell us, which an independent lab just confirmed, is this. The Apple 32 gig iPhone is 8 times slower with storage performance than the 128 gig or the 256 gig models.
Why on earth?
So what's that mean? It means that and it shouldn't mean anything. If you've got enough capacity, you would think that the storage times would be the same, whether it's 16, 32, 64, 128, or 256 gigabyte. Wrong. So what they found is just the 32 gigabyte model, iPhone 7, was 8 times slower when it came to storage performance than the 128 gig. Now, what makes this interesting is Apple did away with the 64 gig. So the bad news is there is no longer a 64 gig, but the good news is traditionally there was a $100 bump every time you went from 16 to 32, another 100 to go from 32 to 64, another 100 to go from 64 to 128, another 100 to go to 256. It got expensive if you wanted one of these iPhones with 128 or 256 gigabyte. The good news is, in that they did away with the 64 gig, you can jump right from the 32 gig to the 128 gig
for 100,
and
for 100,
which is 4 times as for $100.
Now that is a good deal. You know what? And it just seems
that is a good deal, especially knowing that you're going to get far faster storage speeds.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know how to explain why the 32 gig or the was it 64 they got rid of, right? So, but then why would the 30? Why would
no explanation?
Yeah, why would the 32 be so much slower? You don't. Let me ask you this:
it makes no sense.
When they put, when you go up to the 128 or to the 256, does the size of the phone change, or is it just the technology that allows them to keep that much more in there?
No, the size of the phone remains the same because this is all on a chip. It's not a removable micro SD card as many of the other brands used to use and still do in some cases. It's like an EEPROM. It's a built-in chip, and it doesn't matter if it's 8, 16, 32, 64. They're all the same size, my understanding.
I mean, does it make sense to go to 256 gig? I mean, my God, who's going to use 128?
That's an awful lot. If you've got thousands of songs and you're storing video, I had a 128. I now have a 64, and last I checked, I was at about 28 gigs.
Yeah. Yeah.
So technically the 32 is probably enough for me, but now after reading that the, storage speeds are 8 times slower, I'd spend the Hyundai and bump up to the 128.
Oh yeah.
Just me personally.
Yeah, me too. And I'll tell you, for some reason, I've always thought that if you get any kind of equipment, whether it be a copy machine or a fax machine, whether they're both the same anymore now, or a computer, or the capacity of a computer, I've always tried to get a machine that was specified for something much heavier and for much more use than what I thought I was ever going to use, because then that way, if I was using it, I wasn't pushing it, it would last longer and perform better. Does it work that way with the phones too?
Absolutely. And you can never have too much memory. And the reason I recommend that is I run into people that think, with the 8 or 16 gig in the old days, they had enough. And then Apple would push out a new iOS 9 or 10 upgrade, and they try to do the upgrade, and they get that dreaded message that they don't have enough memory, and then they'd start looking through their pictures and madly deleting photos that they don't want to keep, and then trying again and keep deleting and trying again until they have enough storage. I find that when you have more than enough, it's well worth the investment, and I'll tell you why. Because if you do find you don't have enough, it's far cheaper now when you're buying a new phone to spend that extra $100 and in this case quadruple your memory from 32 to 128 than have to sell that 32 gigabyte device and then go out and buy, outright.
Yeah,
a 128 gigabyte. So it's much cheaper to do it now than to do it later. And like I said, you can never have too much memory. And the good news is, even if you don't use that memory, when it's resale time, your device is worth more money having the memory than not.
Yeah.
So you will get a little bit of that in return on the trade-in. We always can get a little more for these high gig devices.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. And you know what? It just makes sense to me that if you're underutilizing the capacity of whatever equipment you're using, that it's just going to last longer.
That's true. Remember last week, Robert, we were talking about how Siri seemed to get stupider?
Yeah, you mentioned that last week.
Well, I also noticed Walt Mossberg, one of the more respected analysts in this industry, said the same thing, that, he felt Siri was getting stupider. I know Microsoft just came out with something. They're saying that their new voice recognition system reaches human parity.
Really?
They feel it's as good as humans.
Wow.
Now, if they could just make an iOS, an operating system, I'm not crazy about the Windows 10 on my Windows computers, but I think Windows 10 would make for an amazing smartphone platform. It's just a shame that I like that Nokia 950 XL, which has been discontinued. It was a Nokia product. Nokia is no longer making phones, but that was a pretty impressive device. They're available now in the $300 range, brand new. I think they're like $700-800 initially, but specs out like an iPhone, but it's Windows. I don't know that, if you can find a good deal on one for people who love Windows. It's got a killer camera. It's a nice device, but they're now saying that the voice quality is far, far better with the speech recognition. I did find a way. I'm getting better performance now with my Siri. And what I do is when I talk to her normally, she doesn't respond. If I say, call Robert Cardoza, maybe she's going to respond, maybe not. But if I say, call Robert Cardoza, you stupid B-I-C-C-H, she will always call you. She gets it right every time. And she used to tell me, she used to say, why are you so angry? I'm only an inanimate object. Now she seems to accept the fact, and doesn't give me that anymore. And she does her business. So if you have a problem with Siri, interject that at the end, and you'd be surprised. She listens much better now.
I'm going to shock the hell out of some friends someday, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. And then they're going to laugh like crazy for the next half a day, right? Because it's going to work.
They will.
Yeah. Hey, listen.
Trust me, she's never worked. Yeah. She's never worked better, Robert. I just don't understand it.
Listen, you made a
comment. She likes to be abused.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to go there, but we had a whole show yesterday on domestic violence. We should have made Siri part of that thing. Anyway.
Yeah, could have.
Hey, you made a comment about something that I'd like you to expand on, that you didn't like Windows 10 and on your desktop. Why is that?
Well, a couple of reasons. One, I liked Windows 7 Professional. That's what I had previously. The problem I have now is I've got these panels. I'm constantly, like when I'm looking for documents, sometimes I had a panel that said docs. Now I don't. So I have to click into this regular old school menu, the start button, and I just find sometimes that stuff gets in the way. I mean, it has its pros. It's cool with interactive, Facebook and LinkedIn and, all these apps that are interactive and will show you live tiles. With new information, especially the news and the Flipboard and all that. So there is some cool stuff to it. But when I need something, and maybe I need to go to one of the Microsoft stores and have them give me a tutorial. But I just seem to, the Apple stuff is just so much more logical to me. If I need something, I go to that stupid face that says Finder. I type in what I need and boom, there it is. Yeah. And I'm just having a harder time. The other thing is I got a problem with my email. Every time I try to open my email, it doesn't recognize my passwords. So I have to open it as an administrator. Oh. So it's just weird, stuff that's kind of bugging me. And the other thing is I don't have a touch screen anyway, and I don't know that I want to touch my screen.
Well, I actually do have a touch screen. I don't use it often.
And do you touch it often?
No, not very often. I really don't, because I don't like touching the screen. I don't like cleaning the screen. But I do use it from time to time, and it's kind of a weird thing. It's okay, but it still feels strange to be touching your screen. You get fingerprints on it and smears, and you got to be cleaning it. And I'm so used to using the mouse, it's just as good anyway.
So you use an iPhone, but do you use a PC, or do you also have an Apple, or just a PC?
I have two iPads that I use when I'm doing my broadcasting. I have two iPads, and I have a Windows 10 touchscreen PC, and then I have my iPhone, and I use all of those when we're doing our broadcast.
Okay.
And then I've got
about what Ecuador did, didn't you?
Yes, they shut off Assange, right?
Yeah, they don't like the fact that he's trying to influence elections, so they cut his cord.
You know what? I just find it so amazing that you can just sort of pick and choose who you're going to shut off. Not that he doesn't deserve it. I just find it amazing that it's possible.
Well, it might be tougher to do in the U.S., but he's in a foreign country. There's probably one main internet provider in that country. Yeah. And when the government tells that internet provider, hey, you're shutting this dude off or else, I have a feeling they're going to shut the dude off.
Yeah, absolutely. So listen, we have about 50 seconds, and we have to say goodbye. God, this went by fast today.
Boy, that was a quick one. I didn't even get a chance to plug anything today.
Well, plug.
So I'll do that really quick. What I'm going to say is this. We just heard about T-Mobile limiting their unlimited plans, and we know that they're only giving 480p resolution, which is DVD quality, but when you spend $900 for a smartphone that's capable of 4K resolution, 1080p, it's like taking a shower with a raincoat on to slow your speeds down. So this is a great opportunity. As I mentioned last week, Verizon has a deal. It's a temporary deal. Get it now. You have it forever, but it's not going to last long. 4 lines, $160 with 20 gigabytes of high-res 4G. None of this slow down fake unlimited 4G stuff. But it's an amazing deal. If you go over with that, they will slow you down like T-Mobile used to do with the throttling. So you don't have to worry about exceeding the 20 gig. They have rollover as well. Never, ever, ever been a better time to be a Verizon customer because they're competing now with Sprint and T-Mobile. They never did that. So you can have the best and not pay an arm and a leg more for it as in the old days. Again, everything we talk about, www.drwireless.com, Facebook/drwireless, and any of your users can always contact me for a complimentary consultation. Free one. Let's just go Joel@drwireless.com.
So, you know what, Joel, now I need to know, are you going to slam down the phone, walk outside, grab your board, and go to the water?
Well, I gotta admit to you, I already did that. I had my network meeting at 7. I had 2 meetings after that. I was at the beach at 10:30, out of the water by 11:45, preparing for the radio show by noon, and here I am.
I'm proud of you, Joel.
I'm proud of you. Take a nap, maybe.
Well, you know, I just got back Monday afternoon from Las Vegas. I was exhausted. I hadn't been to Vegas in a long time. You know, I don't know what am I doing? I'm way late on my commercial. Anyway, I'll talk to you next week about it. Have a great week. Stay safe. Stay happy. Keep everybody around you happy, which you do all the time. And we'll talk to you next week, Joel.
Likewise, Robert.
All righty. The rest of you folks, stick around because when we come back, we're going to be talking about birthdays for the day, the secret daily teaching for your life, the Harvard business tip of the day, and interesting but useless facts. Got a lot of great show left for you, so don't go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson & Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:42 p.m. Pacific time. It's still 90 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire, and it is sunny. It's on its way down to 63 degrees, but if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in Tokyo, Japan, it is 70 degrees and clear. And if you're in Sydney, Australia, well, it's also 70 degrees, but it's got scattered clouds. But right now, what I'm going to talk to you about is the Harvard Business Tip of the day. And the management tip today is make the most of a short-term assignment. You know, short-term assignments, transfers, or rotation programs can have big advantages. You're exposed to new geographies, functions, cultures, and people. But these temporary positions often come with little or no training, so it's your responsibility to get up to speed and fast. Here are 3 ways to make sure that you're getting the most from a short-term assignment. First of all, set goals. At the start, write out what you hope to accomplish during your tenure, whether it's to receive a permanent position or to develop a certain type of expertise or both. Also, think through what you need to reach these goals. Then, ask for feedback. Mention up front to your boss and peers that you'd like their feedback as you acclimate to the new role. Set up at least one formal check-in with your supervisor. You know what? And finally, you ought to keep a journal. When you see something that works or doesn't, write it down. Compile your thoughts over time and reflect on them. Taking a note of lessons learned makes it more likely that you'll leave even a brief experience with real insight. You know what? Those are things you need to follow. They are a key to real success. Now, we're going to talk about the secret daily teaching for your life. The teaching today is kind of a long one, but you know what? Basically, it's always what I tell you at the beginning. You decide what your life is going to be. You decide if it's going to be success or a failure, rich or poor, whether you're going to be happy or sad. You decide all that in the morning. When you wake up in the morning, you look in the mirror, and you say, wow, I'm going to have a productive, profitable day, and I'm going to have everybody around me happy. Well, you know what? The lesson for today is to help myself become more aware. I ask the universe to give me a gentle nudge to bring me back to the present whenever my mind has taken over and is having a party at my expense. That gentle nudge happens by me bumping myself or dropping something, a loud noise or a siren or an alarm going off. All of these things are signals to me that my mind has taken off and to come back to the present. When I receive these signals, I stop immediately and ask myself, what am I thinking? What am I feeling? Am I aware? And, of course, in the moment I do that, I am aware. The very moment you ask yourself if you are aware, you are there. You are aware. Yeah, sometimes you just got to get back to the beginning. Well, you know what today is. We all know what today is. Today is Wednesday, October the 19th, and by gosh, it is somebody's birthday. Yeah, and we've got 3 pretty doggone nice birthdays for you today, so you know what? We might as well just get right to them. First up is a fellow who was born in 1944, passed away in 1987, didn't live a very long life. He was a reggae musician who was a core member of the Wailers. Happy birthday, Peter Tosh. And then here's a guy, fantastic actor, born in 1945, an actor best known for his starring role on the sitcom Third Rock from the Sun. Happy birthday, can you guess? John Lithgow. And then finally, born in 1967, is the youngest of 4 children and the only daughter of United States President Jimmy Carter and his wife, Rosalind Carter. Happy birthday, Amy Carter. Yeah, absolutely. Well, what happened today in history? Hang on, I'm about to tell you. On October the 19th, 1789, Chief Justice John Jay is sworn in as the very first Chief Justice of the United States of America. And in 1873, Yale, Princeton, Columbia, and Rutgers universities draft the first Code of American Football Rules. Yeah, in 1873. Can you believe that? And then finally, in 1943, streptomycin, the very first antibiotic remedy for tuberculosis, is isolated by researchers, again, at Rutgers University. Isn't that something? Well, you know what? Our quote for today comes from a great guy. It comes from W.C. Fields, and he says, "Reminds me of my safari in Africa. Somebody forgot the corkscrew, and for several days we had to live on nothing but food and water." Don't you just love that? I know. I'm sorry. I just like, he's great. I just like it. But you know what? It's time for us to give you a few of these interesting but useless facts. Let's start off with the Seguro cactus found in southwestern United States does not grow branches until it's at least 75 years old. Wow. Did you know that? By the way, if you've ever been out there, the Seguro National Forest is just beautiful. It's strange, but it's beautiful. How about this? The system of democracy was introduced 2,500 years ago in Athens, Greece. Now, the oldest existing governing body operates in Althing in Iceland, and it was established in 930 AD. And that's kind of interesting, isn't it? Yeah. Well, let me give you this one. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration announced in 1978 that it would alternate men's and women's names in the naming of hurricanes. Now, it was seen as an attempt at fair play. Hurricanes had been named for women for years until then the NOAA succumbed to pressures from women's groups who were demanding that Atlantic storms be given unisex names. Yeah, they didn't want to, well, I don't want to get there. I don't want to get in trouble. How about this? Did you know that cows are incapable of putting their lips together to make sounds like humans? So they are actually saying ooh instead of moo. You've heard that before, right? Sure. Yeah, absolutely. You know what? The average number of people airborne over the United States in any given hour, do you know what it is? Yes, 61,000 people airborne in the United States at any given moment. Now that is really something. Well, let's see here. What else we got? I got a couple more I can do. Did you know that, what is this? Clinophobia is the fear of going to bed. I don't have that problem. You know what? Let me leave you with this one. Samuel Taylor Coleridge wrote his famous poem, Kubla Khan, directly from a dream. Coleridge was in the midst of writing down the visions that he had seen in his dream when someone knocked on the door and he rose to let him in. On returning to his work, Coleridge found that he could not remember the rest of the dream. That is why Kubla Khan remains unfinished. Yeah, I'd like to say that. Now you know the rest of the story, but that's what's coming up next. So don't go away. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to do our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. 822. Aho Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry and a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39. A complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And it's time for our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. The biggest and best voice in America reveals the startling heartbeats behind the headlines. You know, you don't want to miss any part of Paul Harvey's rest of the story. Just know that we do it every day this time, Monday through Friday. And tomorrow's story actually is going to be the uneasy rider. You're not going to want to miss that. But for today, we're talking about the launching of the Little Red Wagon. You know, I'm about to tell you about a little boy who saw things differently. Toys weren't toys. They were transportation. Firecrackers weren't firecrackers. They were energy. The fact that he saw life differently eventually changed the shape of the modern world. We can trace his influence on us by turning point in his life when he was 13 years old. But you know, that's the rest of the story. The little boy who saw things differently was born to wealthy parents who hoped for a distinguished career for their son. Perhaps that's why Dad was so disturbed at his son's interest in dangerous explosives. What would the boy be when he grew up? A safecracker? The young lad protested that his dangerous explosives were actually no more than firecrackers and skyrockets. They were marvelous sources of energy, sources of power that could be tapped constructively. To his dad, however, they were dangerous. The boy was 13. He obtained some skyrockets from a friend, 6 of them, and he sat alone on the porch steps one afternoon trying to figure out how they might best be put to use. Idly, he looked out over the front lawn and over his little red wagon, and then it hit him. If just one of those skyrockets could lift itself high into the sky, then maybe, just maybe, 6 of them could take his wagon into the stratosphere. Well, the lad slipped back into the house. "Mom, Dad," he called. No one answered. Good. Yet they might return at any moment, so he'd have to act fast. Quickly, he looked about for some rope or sturdy twine or something that would secure the rockets to his wagon. When he found it, he tied 2 rockets to either side and the remaining 2 in the back. And then, with his heart pounding in anticipation of the Little Red Wagon's solo flight, he lit the fuses. The lad jumped clear, fully expecting his contraption to take off straight up. Then came the big surprise. The blast of the first rocket to ignite tipped the wagon over, back on its wheels. By the time the rest of the skyrockets had ignited, the little red wagon had aborted. And the little red wagon itself was careening down the street at an amazing speed. When the boy saw this, he was at first stunned and perhaps a bit disappointed. But at last he was overcome with joy. The rockets were powering his wagon. It was moving because of them, faster than he could ever pull it. With an elated burst of enthusiasm, the boy bolted down the street after the little red wagon. When the skyrockets finally burned out, 5 blocks down, it was with a magnificent explosion. Neighbors ran from their houses to see what had happened, and there they saw a breathless, exuberant little boy dancing about the charred chassis of a childhood toy. And then the police arrived. What was going on here? They demanded to know. It worked, was all the lad could say, and the ecstatic youngster was quickly taken into custody. When Dad arrived to bail his son out, the boy was still excited over his conquest. Although the child was reprimanded severely, he never got over the excitement. But his dad eventually overcame his own fear of an undistinguished career for his son. For the lad grew to distinguish himself as no other has ever felt in the rocketry and technology. The boy, whose toy ceased to be toys, went on to achieve his doctorate at 22. So respected was he that his country called on him to head its rocket research. But his country wasn't ours, not at first anyway. There was a long patch of sky between the red wagon and the redstone. At the age of 24, the young man whose very first experiment got him arrested was making rockets for Hitler. You've heard of Peenemünde, where he worked. You know the V2 that lashed London. But when the Allies were closing in and surrender was between the Russians and the Americans, he accepted the country that accepted God and came to work for us. Without him, he could never have answered the Sputnik. Without him, there would be no Saturn V, the Saturn V that carried men to the moon. And all because a little boy in a German suburb thought that he could make his wagon fly. In a way, it did. In a way, it did not. And, in a way, it reached the stars. As you know well by now, his name was Wernher von Braun. And now you know the rest of the story.
That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza.